Thank you. I would like to start out by saying that he took Ellis's advice very well, and I could hear him saying those exact words, "You didn't screw it up." Thank you. Yauts, Kelesinugwa, Crystal Smith, Gekekilin, Timotsehe. Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Smith, and I come from Timotsa, or Snag Beach. I just want to take the time. So I've got approximately 16, 17 months left in this term before re-elections our times come up. And I was talking to our team the other night, and I was reflecting back on what it was like growing up at home. And I've been often asked in reports and newspapers what that was like. And I tell you that as a 11-year-old, 12-year-old girl walking on our front street from my grandparents' house to my basketball practice, where I would pass our old band office every day and think, I'm going to be either a janitor or an assistant to somebody, and that's the only place that I can work. To be standing in front of a sold-out crowd where I am shaking crazily up here, in front of you all, as the elected chief councillor of my very proud nation. So with that, I want to take the opportunity to take a selfie, and if we can please have the lights turned on if that's not an issue. So I can take a selfie with all of you guys out there. Wow, there's a lot of you out there. Maybe I should have did that last because I'm shaking a little bit more. And I can hear Ellis in my head right now. So before I get started, I just wanted to acknowledge my fellow leadership and instrumental piece in our team here with me and supporting me in the crowd so that I can get through this. Our Deputy Chief Councillor, Arthur Renwick. Councillor Kevin Stewart. And our CEO, Jason Major. So I had approximately a 20-page speech written and prepared, and I won't go without acknowledging the team that put that together. So Don McLaughlin, First Nations LNG Alliance, Alex, and I'm not going to mangle your last name, but Alex and team from First Nations Climate Initiative, our internal team, Sarah Artist, and our CEO, and also Gary Lee, who's a crucial part of our team. And as I read it the other night, I looked at it and thought, I can't read this. How many of you in here, and I do this so often in the last 2 or 3 years, can I see a show of hands of how many people have seen my face on social media, heard me in a radio interview, seen me on a TV, news, CTV or BNN, or heard me speak in a panel or as a keynote? Wow. Wow. I should have taken a picture of that. So I figured you've heard the messages as the chief counselor. You've seen why our nation does what we do. You've heard the poverty to managing prosperity. You've heard that hope and that determination talk. But as you see, I was dressed in my, I guess I'll say that the chief councillor clothing. And you've seen my outfits sitting on panels, professional, casual wear. And I figured last night, as I traveled into Prince George, Councillor Kevin Stewart told me that it looked like I was in disguise, that I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be seen. But in reality, this is me. Everyday yoga pants, I swear if I could make Lululemon an everyday staple of the Haisla Nation attire, I would. But I figured, if you guys have heard those speeches, and you've heard me speak from the heart when I answer questions, why not let people know the real meaning behind why I have, and it's not just me. All the compliments and all the support is great, but I've got such an amazing team behind me with the nation. I feel emotional talking about it. It's the hard decisions of our people that have gotten us to where we are, and I am simply the person up here voicing our experience. It's visionaries like Heber Maitland, who had the vision that when what's now known as Rio Tinto, when Alcan first came to Kitimat, that we simply wanted a share and a say, and one day we would achieve that. To leaders like Steve Wilson, Ellis Ross, and the many council members that worked hard, diligently to ensure that our people would succeed and have a share and a say. And I am so, excuse my language, damn proud to say that we accomplished that when LNG Canada and CGL made their final investment decision. The single largest private investment decision, and it's being built in Haisla territory. But it's not only leaders elected that we take those visions and make reality. One of our hereditary chiefs told our elected leaders that with all this wealth and opportunity, to be mindful of our neighbors. And we have extended the doors of Haisla territory for employment of our neighboring First Nations communities to ensure that we share that opportunity, we share that prosperity, we share what we see in our community today. Now, I reflected back to when I was a young girl, and I figured I'm gonna dress the way I normally dress. I see one of my friends, Lisa Grant, in the crowd. She can attest to that I dress like this quite often, for sure. But to tell a little bit of story of the reasonings why I support this economic reconciliation so much. So as I'd walk, you heard where I visioned that I would end up, either a janitor or an assistant in our band office, working for our people. And I share this story with our friends from Pacific Traverse Energy, that I never, ever, without a doubt in my mind, thought that I grew up in poverty. My life was made so amazing by my grandparents. My grandfather was a victim of residential school. But they made mine and my twin sister's life the most memorable. I didn't think we were poor. I had traditional food every day. Grew up on fish, herring eggs, ulican. I never thought that I was poor. I never thought that my life was affected by the generational traumas that each of our communities experience. But I grew up poor. And as you go through life making, and you're a young adolescent, you know the struggles that we each have. I had that among the thought that of all the statistics and all the opinions out there of everybody else, including thinking that some of my teachers in high school thought, I'm not going to be nothing but a statistic. I'm going to get pregnant early. I'm going to be on social assistance. I'm just going to be another burden on the taxpayers of Canada. So I went to school thinking, why am I even here? Sit at the back of the class, not participate. I'm supposed to be stupid, right? I can't participate in any of these academic courses. I went to elementary school my entire life in our community school, and would hear the messaging of First Nation schools don't have quality education. They're a lower standard than in comparison to any other school. So I came out of that school thinking that. And I was so fortunate enough to have my twin sister by my side that we gave each other strength to be able to get through. I went to a local community college for 1 semester, and then dropped out. And then I became the assistant to our first ever chief councillor, Dolores Pollard, and then I was the assistant to Ellis Ross. And as you're growing up, Alcan and the band office, those are the 2 places that I had a choice to work. And when I started becoming a part of the leadership, it was absolutely amazing to listen to what the visions were, where they were going, and what the thought process was. And I asked Ellis, can I come listen to you speak? And I think I was the only First Nations person in that entire room. And it was packed as this. And it honestly brought tears to my eyes. The reason why he did what he did was because of people like me. I haven't had an easy go at anything. I lost my mom to cancer when she was only 42. My twin and I raised our 9-year-old sister and my then 16, 17-year-old brother. I lost my grandmother when I was very young. I think I was 15 when she passed away. And I've experienced suicide firsthand. So when you think about everything that we talk about, everything that I've talked about in the media when it comes to poverty, been there. Suicide, been there. Not going to amount to anything in educational background, been there. I don't want our people to continue living that life. I tried to ask, and rather than seeing my face up on those screens, that you would see a cute picture of a very chubby, vivacious, loving, energetic baby who's my grandson. The other picture is of myself with my 2 daughters and my grandson at my graduation last April when I finally graduated college with a diploma in business administration. I talk often about all the benefits, the relationships that the nation has been able to establish with government, with proponents. I've seen these impacts firsthand. I've felt these impacts firsthand. My daughter's 17. She'll be graduating in about a year or so. You know, she's got a 2-year-old boy that she's going to have to think about when she goes to college. I had a conversation with her as I'm thinking about my keynote and how I'm going to gather my thoughts and have the strength to stand in front of you and not be nervous and all over the place. And I was asking her, I shared my story with her and told her, you know, as I was growing up. I asked her, do you have hope? She said, yeah. I said, because everything that we have within the nation now, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want to be. And Xavier will be taking care of every step of that way. And hearing my 17-year-old daughter say that, our nation is not doing the wrong thing. We are doing everything right. I support projects, and I'm not scared by any means to say that. We have seen the positive impacts. My 26-year-old sister was rent-evicted from her home. 26. She just moved into her own, very own, mortgaged home on reserve. 26 years old. I am so proud of her. This independence is what we want. When we talk about a gap, and every First Nation sitting in this room knows that gap that I'm talking about. On a scale, Canada ranks 9th in this world when it comes to living standards. You come to our reserve and you compare on that same scale, we drop to 63. That's a 54-point gap when it comes to every average Canadian. That gap is what we're closing. We have programs and services that are enhanced to meet our people's needs. And I know that I was supposed to cut this quite short, and that I think, I stated, I'm actually tired of listening to my own voice at times. So I had our communications team that I would share my story with you and that we would share some videos with you of our people sharing their story. And can you please play that now?
Ixnaqua, Ramona Ilisanugua, Gekling Haisla. Good morning, friends. My name is Ramona, and I'm from the Haisla Nation. I work at Kitimat Valley Institute. I've been here for close to 4 years now. I'm a survivor of a residential school and also the 60s scoop. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, for me right now, those are just labels that I have been able to remove from myself. You know, as part of my job, I do cultural awareness presentations 2 times a week. And I find that it is quite important because we have so many people coming in from different parts of the world, you know, who may not have an inkling of who we are as a people. So sharing my story about residential school, its impact on our people across Canada, not just the Haisla, across Canada, the impact that it still has today. Getting that story out to all the people coming in is very important, that they have an understanding of why as First Nations people, we are who we are and why we are the way we are.
I'm Jay Stewart from the Haisla Nation. I work for glacier blasting on the CGL project. It's just amazing. I love the physical work that we do every day and just learning the dynamics of blasting. It's a career that I never thought I would get into. I'm not a blaster, but I would like to be a blaster. I just gotta get a blaster to sign off on my hours, and then I can go challenge my ticket. The blasting ticket can take me anywhere that I want to go work. It's the best job that I've ever worked on. Pretty much getting paid to exercise and stay in shape it doesn't even feel like work at all. It takes me away from the lifestyle that I used to live. And working Monday to Saturday is definitely keeping me busy enough not to think about the way I used to live.
My name is Dan Paul. I'm part of the Haisla Nation. I work for Kentron Construction. I've been with Kentron for 5 years, and I'm a concrete mixer driver. Having a steady income it took a while for me to get used to, even, right? It's, before I was behind on my bills all the time. Working here, I get paid every week. Knowing that the money's gonna be in my bank every week is a lot of stress relief from that alone. Yeah, I worked in the fishing industry all my life, and everybody knows now the fishing industry is like a dying business. That's the only job that I had. That's the only thing I was trained in. I think I was very good at it, but the fish just weren't there anymore. I was very lucky to get my Class 1, and from me doing that, I was able to land the job that I have now. So I believe that there's a lot of positive stuff happening for our band and for our band members, and especially the children. Yeah, and it's only the beginning.
I hope that the rest of the abled bodies from Haisla and surrounding areas are willing to take initiative and to take an opportunity for these jobs around here.
Anything is possible for our people, our children, our grandchildren. If you want something, just go and get it. Don't let anybody stop you. It's available, it's accessible. You can do it.
Doesn't that speak volumes? Not hearing me say it, but our people. Every aspect, every generation there. I'm proud to say that 2 of those members are my family. Ramona, I get to see her at KVI when I go there. And the pride that I see and the difference in her personality. Danny is my uncle. He just got back from Mexico and taking his whole family. They have nice, really nice tan skin right now. This is what we need more of in our communities. We need to heal our people. And I'm absolutely apologetic when I say, but I'm not stating something that's wrong. No other government, no other level of government has ever been able to assist our people in the way that we need it. It's through economic development, economic reconciliation, that we're going to find the path back to our true identities and revitalizing our culture as Indigenous people. These are the impacts on the ground that I'm seeing. For the first time ever, we fund a culture and language program. Nobody else. Our council decided as a mandate from our people to save our culture and our language. We invested heavily, and for the first time have that department up and running. And the growth that I've been able to witness in our first employee. She has grown leaps and bounds, and I envy that so much because she speaks our language. She speaks more than I do, and she's finding roots, our Haisla culture roots of what it means to be herself. And that strength is absolutely amazing to witness. So I can picture her, and I can picture 1,900 of our band members being able to reignite that identity and that strength. And we're able to do that on our own. We also have, I think there's approximately, I don't know the stat off the top of my head of the funded programs that we provide for our people in the manner that suits their needs. We also enhance programs that are existing. I also have another video of a program that actually Councillor Kevin Stewart helped initiate. And I think this speaks volumes, and I'm sure most of you watch CTV News. But I think this video also speaks volumes in the terms of what we've been able to accomplish as a nation on our own terms to meet the needs of our people. So can you play the next video, please?
We leave you tonight with a story about the power of personal connection. James Harry used to be an addict in one of Vancouver's roughest neighborhoods, but now he walks those same streets in search of people he can help. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Melanie Nagy on the First Nations man behind a movement that's growing one step at a time.
As sirens blare and the rain falls, a group of First Nations leaders walk the gritty streets of Vancouver's downtown east side.
Any chance I get, I'll talk to them.
James Harry leads the way. These people have traveled from across BC to see what he sees.
No, this is some reality of our people.
Harry is an outreach worker who walks the east side daily, a neighborhood plagued by the opioid crisis. Addiction, poverty, and homelessness can be found on every corner.
I grew up a lot of these people. I don't turn anybody away.
Harry is from the Haisla Nation, about a 16-hour drive from Vancouver. He's also a former addict.
I believe that is why I'm so passionate about it, is that I used to be down here myself.
Since 2017, Harry has single-handedly run a program aimed at helping Haisla living on the streets. He says urban Indigenous people often feel disconnected from their home nation, and he wants to change that.
Your own people coming to look out for you, come to make sure that you're okay, and hopefully bring you home.
Not everyone wants Harry's help, but those who do have entered rehab, found housing, or returned home. That kind of success has sparked interest from other First Nations. Healthsick leader Reg Moody.
We've been really inspired by the work that James is doing.
And Stephanie Martin from the Niska Nation both want people from their community working alongside Harry.
Building that relationship with the individuals so that they feel that they deserve or are worthy.
Walking with other First Nations as a way to help more people, that's Harry's goal. Because he believes everyone deserves a connection to home so that they never feel alone. Melanie Nagy, CTV News, Vancouver.